Hello, hello. Good Tuesday, everybody. I hope everyone is doing great. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are in the world. I'm so happy to have you here with me today. Today is going to be a very um, interesting and revealing webinar because we're going to talk about a very specific topic that is really at the base of everything that we want to do if we want to really move forward in our life. So, for those of you who are joining for the first time, maybe you're not aware of how this goes. So, basically, we're going to be together for around 45 minutes to 60 minutes. I'm going to be giving you a lot of information and a lot of details about today's topic. I'm going to tell you what the topic is just in a second. But what I want you to do is I want you to stick to the end because at the end of the webinar, I have a special invitation for every single one of you. And today's topic is very, like all the topics that I do are very dear to my heart. But this one is very important because it's gonna help you or whoever is listening to this webinar really figure out the importance of letting go. And when I talk about letting go, I'm talking about letting go of everything that stops us from moving forward, letting go of the blocks that we create in our life, letting go of the limitations that we create in our life, letting go of the mistakes or the feelings that we have towards the mistakes that we go through in our life in order for us to really build a very solid present and also to even live in the present moment and to um, create a good and solid ground for our future. So, this is the main topic for today. And as usual, those of you who have been here with me for a while and who have been attending these webinars, you would know how they go, and you know that I love it when you people are, interacting with me, giving me your feedback, and even if you have any questions that you would like to ask, just go ahead and put them in the Q&A and maybe also in the chat. I'm gonna open the chat here and I'm going to put it on the side so that when you have any question, I would love to hear from you. Okay, so just let me know. And when I'm done, if we have the time, I would also love to answer some of these questions. But also, what's important is when you ask me those questions and I get to see them as well later, these questions might be the trigger for some other topics that I can cover for you and talk about in the future. So as usual, I always like to tell you what I do usually and what I've been doing. So today I had a very busy morning and I just created a herbal tea, and I had this herbal tea right before this webinar started, and I took my dog for grooming. Those of you who don't know me, you will get to meet me and you will see that I'm a very jolly person. I like sharing my experiences. I like sharing how my life works because this is the basis, or this is at the base of everything that I teach, right? I really teach from my personal experience and I teach from the learnings that I have been through in my life. This is how my journey went, and this is how my journey is moving forward. So, when I talk today about letting go, I'm going to be sharing really how I do my letting go exercises. And I'm going to give you those hints so that you can start practicing them also in your own life and see how these will help you in your life. So, not long ago, actually, I'm not going to say not long ago, I'm going to say we live in a very fast paced life and a very fast paced time these days, right? So, our life just goes by so quickly. We hardly notice that things are happening, or we hardly notice what is happening. And we just feel like life is passing us by without even noticing, without even giving ourselves the time to breathe. So, what happens is that as we live, we find that letting go of the things that we are attached to, or of the things that happen to us in life or with us in life, is a very constant exercise. It's not something that we do once and that's it. Because as we live our life and as we experience life the way we want to experience it, we will face situations that in that very specific moment of time, they would be situations that would maybe trigger us, or maybe put us in a bad situation. And we want to learn and understand that it's important not to linger on the situations that make us feel bad, or that make us feel unhappy or sad or angry or resentful, or any of the negative feelings that may come out from experiences that we go through in our life. So the letting go journey is not actually a journey that we do once in our life and we move past everything, and life is beautiful and pinky and amazing after we do that letting go. The letting go exercise is, once you start doing it, you will realize that it's an exercise that you're going to want to come back to every now and then. Because as you move through your life, there will be triggers that will alarm you. There will be things that will require your attention, and also maybe things that you go through in life that will remind you of past experiences, and that will take you back to past emotions and past resentment and past maybe sadness, maybe uncomfort. So that's why letting go is an exercise that you want to start um, going through. The sooner the better. If you've never done it before, you want to start doing it now, so that you can really set a pace for your life, to become more aware of what are the things that are blocking you, the things that are limiting you, so that you can let go. And um, like I said, set a very solid tone for your current life. So for me, when I started this, I said I'm going to share something of my own personal experience. So what I realized is that at one point in time, I had to go through a very, very intense exercise of letting go, kind of like going back in my life and really looking for every single limitation I had, every single block I had, every single problem I faced in my life, every single mistake that I did, that I had done. And I looked at all of those to do this very intense letting go exercise. And I remember the first time I wanted to let go, it was really very, very intense and very emotional. Because what happens with us in life is that as we go through life, we're not even realizing that we are burdening ourselves with a lot of the emotions that we go through in our life, because we don't let go instantly, and because we, like, a lot of times we don't even deal with our emotions until they become very intense, or they become very strong, or they become really unbearable. Uh, They start causing us sometimes anxiety, sometimes stress, sometimes even depression, and we don't understand why this is happening. So for me, this is basically what happened. I reached a point in my life, and that was like maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I i was very, like, I don't know if I can say upset, but I reached a point in my life where I was kind of numb, you know. I reached a point where I was numb. I had really like not many feelings. I wasn't interacting with anything in my life, like not really interacting, not in a positive way, and neither in a positive way nor in a negative way. I was kind of really numb, kind of. I sort of became stagnant. It's like, or you can say, like, if you are in a job and you become redundant, this is how I felt. That was 5 or 6 years ago. And what I didn't know, and I realized later when I started working on myself, and then when I started becoming the person that I am today, and when I started being that person who actually supports other people and help other people, and when I became more into life coaching, only then I realized that 6 years ago I was actually going through a depression, but I had zero clue that this was what was happening. So in that time, I had put myself in a complete seclusion from everything in the world, from everyone around me. And I kind of kept myself away from everything and everyone. And it went on for almost a month. And then I started talking to myself and I started asking myself, how is this helping me? How is this adding value to my life? How is this supporting me in my life to move forward? Even then, I did not realize that this was me being the cheerleader for myself to move from that stagnation to become someone who is more aware of what is going on in their life. So when I started asking myself these questions after being completely secluded from everyone, and I didn't even watch TV, I didn't even read, I was literally doing nothing. I was waking up, sulking all day, and then going back to bed at the end of the day. And this happened for a whole month. And then when I started asking myself the big questions, like, how is this helping? How am I giving myself anything this way? How am I moving forward this way? What is this adding to my life? And obviously, the answers were all negative. Like, this is not adding anything. This is, if anything, it's keeping me stuck. It's keeping me where I am, and it's even bringing me backwards. And my life is supposed, like, the logical way for a life to move is forward. So when I started asking these questions, I did not really realize that I was helping myself. Only later, when I became the person that I am today, when I started understanding what it means to go through depression, when I started understanding what it means to be under a lot of stress, what it means to have anxiety, or what it means to feel always sad and always burdened and always unhappy, only then I realized that that month that I kept myself away from everyone in my life, I was actually going through a depression. And then I realized, oh my God, so if this is how it looks, I don't want to be there ever in my life again, you know? And I started working on myself. I started learning what it is that I have to do in order for me to get out of those situations and not to let myself go back into that situation of being stressed, of being anxious, and then that leading to me being depressed. And this applies to everyone. This is not something, like, I'm not unique. I'm like the most ordinary person that you can ever meet. I am just another woman who is living her life, trying to make ends meet, trying to be, supportive to myself, trying to be supportive to people around me. And I just like to live my life in peace and in harmony. But I am like, I'm no superhero. Maybe actually, I consider myself one after going through a lot of what I've been through in my life. I might be a superhero for myself. And every single one of us should be a superhero for themselves. You want to be that superhero for you. And for you to be that superhero, you want to understand where you are in your life. You want to understand what you are going through. You want to be able to reflect on the things that you go through in your life. And you want to be able to have those moments of stop and breathe and think and reflect, you know. And these moments are the moments that will help you understand the importance of letting go. Now, the topic of letting go started because when I was in my depression state, I realized that everything that I was thinking of was related to my past, was related to my previous experiences, was related to how I was brought up, how I lived my childhood, how I was going through my life from, going through one experience to the other without really putting any thought behind any of the experiences that I was going through in my life. And then I realized that this is why life, life passes by and we don't really understand how we moved from point A to point B in our life. And most of the time, point A is could be on a higher level. And if we are not aware, if we are not, really considering how we are living our life and how we are allowing things in our life, point B usually becomes on a lower level. And that's what leads to anxiety, that's what leads to stress and depression. So I realized that for me to be able to really have a thriving life, I want to make sure that I release as many burdens as I can from, my life. I release that weight that I carry on my shoulders without even knowing. That's the thing. Most of the burdens that we have and most of the blocks that we have, we don't even know that we have them. We don't even realize that we have them until we go through a life changing experience, like, for example, what happened to me. Now, the reason why I do this is one very important thing. I always say if I had someone guide me when I was going through that experience in my life, I would have done this way much faster and way much easier. And I would have crossed those miles a lot faster and like a long, long time ago, instead of having to wait until years down the line for me to become who I am today. So I always say, I wish I had, or I wish I knew then what I know now. And if there was someone then to show me the things that I know now, I would have been way much happier and I would have started doing this way much earlier in my life. So that's why I share these experiences. And this is why I always want people in my network to really take from my learnings and try to see how they can apply these learnings in their own lives instead of waiting for them or for themselves basically to reach rock bottom and then wake up. Maybe we don't have to reach rock bottom to wake up. Maybe if we are just alert, if we are just aware, and if we are just a little bit open-minded about receiving learnings from the experiences of other people around us. I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about everybody. You can learn from your friends, you can learn from your children, you can learn from your peers, you can learn from your boss, you can learn from the people that you meet randomly in your life, right? So if we are always open to this learning process, this will make our lives move in a much smoother way, and we can really navigate our life in an easier way. So let me tell you about why letting go is important and how letting go happens basically. So when we talk about letting go, what are we really letting go of? We're not letting go of our beautiful memories. We're not letting go of our emotional, like joy and happiness. What we're trying to let go of are mainly the things that are blocking us and the things that are limiting us in our lives. The things that limit us in our lives, I'm going to be talking specifically about limiting beliefs in a bit, but every letting go journey and every letting go experience goes through a process of release. Release of what? Basically, releasing the weight of the burdens that we carry through our life. We're talking here about a lot of emotional baggage, a lot of heavy energy that we carry through our life, starting from our childhood because of the burdens, and most of those that come in our childhood are not really created by us, but we kind of just take them on board because as children we don't really know better, and we're just learning from whatever happens around us, and we take that as our go-to process, so we kind of make it our bible. Our childhood becomes the way we understand the world, the way we learn, the way we become who we are today. So, and during our childhood, a lot of things happen that really are not to our benefit, but we take them on board because this is how we are learning. So, letting go starts by releasing the weight of those burdens that have been imposed on us, sometimes by society, sometimes by our parents, sometimes even by ourselves without actually knowing that. Right. So, this is the first thing that when we want to release, we want to make sure that we are releasing those burdens, we are releasing that weight off our shoulders so that we can create a free space. And when you release especially the emotional baggages that you carry from your life experience, you can carry emotional baggage from um, your relationships with your parents, your relationships with your siblings. You can carry emotional baggage from a breakup or a heartbreak, or maybe the way you've been badly treated at work, the way you've been badly treated by peers, by your teachers sometimes. So all of these are emotional baggages that have been sitting with you for those years, and these are like this is one of the major things that you want to let go of. So this is one, for me it's the most important, to to be able to let go of those burdens and release that weight so that you can create a free space for what is new. Most of the time we are stuck in the past because we live in the past. Like, how many times do you wake up in the morning and the first thing that you think of is what you did yesterday? You don't even think of, today is going to be a bright day, today is going to be a joyful day, today I'm going to be doing X, Y, and Z. How many times, like, let me know in the comments, how many times when you wake up in the morning, the first thing that you think of is something that happened the day before or the day before that? This proves that most of the time we are living in our past. We don't allow ourselves to really enjoy the present moment or live in the present moment. So we want to make sure that this is one of the most important things that we start letting go of, which is any baggage that we are bringing into our present life from our past experiences. And by that, we are creating room. When we release those emotional baggages and those emotional energies and heaviness, we are literally, it's like emptying a bucket full of water, is emptying it from the water and just making space for something new, making space for growth, making space for growth in our mind, in our mental health, and emotionally freeing space in our life so that we can survive with grace, so that we can live with grace and we can live with gratitude. Gratitude is something that's very important for us to experience all the time. And I tell you, one of the things that I always try to teach my clients is to make sure that every day they remember to list whatever comes to their mind, um, by being like, what is it that we are grateful for in our life today? Our, like in the morning, every morning when I wake up, I do a gratitude list and I say, I'm grateful for my life today. I'm grateful for my mistakes because they taught me a lot. I'm grateful for every single issue I have been through in my life because it got me to where I am today. So gratitude doesn't always have to be for the only the positive things that are happening in your life today and now. You want to be grateful for everything because everything that you've been through in your life brought you to this very specific moment. And if you are grateful for this moment, it means that you are grateful for everything else that led to this moment. So you want to remember to feel that feeling and really be grateful. We're not just listing for the sake of listing, we are really feeling grateful for these moments that brought us to where we are today. So do this exercise, and it's an exercise that is very, very helpful in the letting go experience, because when you remember that your mistakes or the problems that you've been through in your life have actually led you to who you are and where you are today, and today is a positive day for you, you will be grateful for that. And that's one of the ways to let go of any negativity that we bring with us from those previous experiences. That's, for me, it's one of the best ways to let go, is to feel grateful and to really list what we are grateful for. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about is when we are going through a letting go experience, we are really breaking free from those limitations, especially the limiting beliefs that we have been carrying throughout our lives, and some of them that we have imposed on ourselves. You know, today I was doing a list. It's funny that so today I'm working on something for myself to release. And I did this list. Like, it's a 3 pages list of things that are limiting me in my life today, with everything that I've been doing, with all the work that I've been working on myself. I still came up with 3 pages of limitations. So I can only imagine, if I was doing this exercise maybe 2, 3 years ago, I could have written a book of only listing the limiting beliefs that uh, I have been collecting throughout my life. Excuse me. So we want to make sure that when we do this exercise of letting go, one of the things that we have to let go of and that we have to face is our limitations and our limiting beliefs. And we want to free that space in order for us to implement new, let's call them programs, that will help us in our current life. Now, one thing we want to remember about limiting beliefs, and this is the next topic I'm going to be talking about. Our limiting beliefs, we create them, right? Some of them are imposed on us because we live with them, through them, and because this is how we are raised. But a lot of times, our limiting beliefs are created by us somehow to protect us. Like, in the moment that we create them, we are creating them in order to help ourselves and to protect us from a very specific thing that we go through in our life. The only thing that we tend to forget when we create those limiting beliefs is to actually go back to them, because we are doing that creation on the subconscious level. We don't really realize that we're creating those limitations, and that The minute we are creating them, we are actually creating something very specific to help us. But if we don't address it after we create it and it served us, it becomes a block for us. It becomes something that is hindering us from moving forward, right? So once we feel that these limitations are really like making us stuck where we are, we want to address that. And letting go is the result of letting go is based on how much we can really understand our limiting beliefs and fixing them and letting go of them, so that we can free that space to be able to move forward, to be able to become the best version of who we already are. I personally believe that every single one of us is, like I said at the beginning, is a superhero. We are all superheroes. We are all divine creatures. We all have the divine right for everything in life, for abundance, for creativity, for unconditional love, for everything that you can think of that is positive. It is our divine right. Okay. As I said, when we go through life, we create a lot of turmoil in our life. And the reason why we do that is basically because our soul is here to learn. So we are kind of, it's like, when you are a child, and children, they have to experience things in order to learn. So if they don't fall, they will not understand that falling is painful. If they don't break their hand, they will not learn that something like, hitting the wall will cause them to break their hand unless they do it. So it's like this, basically. For you to be able to learn, you will have to experience things. Now, the thing is that we can learn from experiencing things once or twice. We don't have to keep on experiencing those limitations throughout our entire life. The minute we become aware that we have limitations, we are already halfway through understanding and releasing those limitations. Many of us do not even realize that we have limitations that are blocking us in our lives. And we are always saying, this person did that to me, that person did that to me, my mom did this, my dad did this, my brother did this. And my whole life is a series of unfortunate events because of everyone else around me, and it's never my mistake. Newsflash, my dear friends, it's always my mistake, because I am the one allowing all of this to happen. We might argue that when we are kids, we don't even know. That's very true. That's why I said, the minute you become aware that you are the reason why everything happens, then you start becoming the person who is in charge. Then, and again, this has to be your decision. This will be the minute you are aware that, oh, I am causing this, which means that if I'm causing this, I know I can also solve it. If once I know that I'm the cause, and I also hold the solution in my hand, if I don't do anything about it, there it goes. Now you realize why I'm saying I'm the reason, right? So that's also when you realize why I'm saying, the minute you become aware, this is when you really have gone through halfway through your letting go experience. One of the most important limiting beliefs that keep us stuck, that keep us in a place where we do not let go, is self doubt. And no wonder why self doubt comes in here, because given that we do not accept, or we are always like thinking, is it really me? Like, am I really the reason behind all of this? Isn't it that person or that person? When I start talking about myself in a negative way, and I really doubt everything that I do, I really doubt everything that I say, and I really like, no, I cannot do this. I don't have the power. I don't have the will. I don't have the know how. I don't have the knowledge. I don't have the expertise. I don't. And I'm always talking to myself in a very negative way. This will be my self doubt controlling. And self doubt is a limiting belief, right? It's you limiting yourself from moving forward just because you are telling yourself negative things about you. Now, it's very simple thing to get out of that. Again, remember, if you are aware, because if you're doing this and you're really completely oblivious to what you are doing, there's no way you can help yourself. The only way you can help yourself is by realizing, oh my God, I'm talking to myself in a negative way. Why am I doing this? Why am I talking to myself this way? And that's the solution for that self doubt and that self negative talk, is to basically challenge yourself. And instead of talking to yourself in a negative way, what you want to do, you want to challenge yourself and talk about you in a positive way. Like I just did earlier. I said we are superheroes. I said we are, talented. We have the divine right to own everything that is positive around us. It is our divine right to receive from the universe. It is our divine right to be good. It is our divine right to be joyful, to be free, to be happy, to be human, to be abundant, to have money, to own businesses. This is our abundant and our abundance and our divine right. So if we keep on talking to ourselves this way, guess what? Our subconscious mind will start realizing that, hey, you know what? Yeah, this person is like, this person being me, okay, is ready to receive. And hey, this bucket is empty now. There's no negativity, there's no limitation here. We've removed all the burdens, we're letting go of all those limitations. So now I am able to receive. Yes, bring it on. And we start asking instead of nagging and being that person who's always doubting themselves. This is one of the most important limiting beliefs that we want to get rid of, which is that self doubt, that self negative talk, that us sitting with ourselves in our brain and chattering always negative things, right? You want to talk to yourself in a positive way. You want to give yourself positive affirmations. You want to be compassionate to yourself. And remember, when you are making mistakes, you make those mistakes so that you can learn. This is the way we learn. This is the way life goes. If we do not make mistakes, we will not learn. So be compassionate to yourself. Be compassionate to who you are. Admire who you are, respect who you are, and understand who you are. And that, my friends, takes work. That takes, you want to be transparent with you. It's not about being transparent with others, being transparent with people in general or people in your life. You want to be first and foremost, you want to be transparent with yourself. You want to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I am thinking this way and this is wrong. This is the right way to think. And you want to keep on saying that until it becomes part of your belief system. So instead of having a negative thought as part of your belief system, you're replacing it with a positive thought that's completely the opposite of that negative thought. The more you do this, the easier it becomes. And then it becomes a normal practice. And then without even noticing, you will become a positive person. You will become a person that will know the minute something happens, yeah, I know I did this because I am learning this. right? I did this because I needed to see that person the way they truly are. And this is why I created this whole scenario in my life so that I can find out the reality behind someone in my life, as an example. Okay. The second limiting belief that is very limiting to us is our feeling of regret and guilt. And mainly, our feeling of regret and guilt comes from the mistakes that we do in our life. Every time we make a mistake, we start feeling that, oh my God, I shouldn't have done that. And this was bad. And this is going to reflect bad on me. And this is going to make my life miserable. And we start feeling guilty about everything that we do. And this becomes a limitation for us to move forward. So we start basically living in that regret and guilt instead of moving forward and learning from those mistakes. And there's no harm. In fact, this is such a how do you call it? A very high vibrational feeling that a lot of people, or not feeling, experience that a lot of people do not do, is forgiveness. You know, instead of feeling guilty and living in regret always and all the time, there's no harm in asking for forgiveness from yourself first, and then from whoever else you might have hurt along the way, through your own doing or through your own actions or through your own mistakes, right? So this is how you make those mistakes your learning process or your learning pattern. So when you go through that mistake, instead of regretting it always and feeling guilty about it always, understand that mistake. Why did you create it? What is it that you were trying to learn? Reflect, and also reflect on the lessons. Like, okay, I did this mistake, I learned this from this mistake, and then next time, now I know what the lesson is, I know I have learned it. Okay, I want to practice forgiveness. I want to first forgive myself. I want to, if I have hurt somebody, I want to ask for their forgiveness. There's no shyness, and there is no, what do you call it? Like, there's no inferiority in asking for forgiveness. It's not that you are less than if you ask for someone else's forgiveness, especially if you are the one causing those mistakes or causing that hurt, right? And a lot of times we don't ask for forgiveness because we feel shy, or we do not want to go through that confrontational process, because forgiveness means we're going to confront this person when we ask for their forgiveness. And sometimes, most of the time, we start really putting the conversation in our mind before it even starts. So we go like, and hey, it happens to me even when I want to ask for forgiveness from someone. I try as much as possible not to do any more mistakes in my life, but sometimes we have to. Sometimes we just cannot help it. Mistakes will happen, right? And there's no harm in asking for forgiveness. But when we want to go through that exercise, most of the time we are talking to ourselves again in a negative way, and we're thinking, oh, but if I go and ask for this person's forgiveness, they're going to say 1 2 3, and I'm not going to be happy with what they're going to say, and I'm going to be really more upset, and probably I'm going to say something that's going to upset them, and this is going to go very bad. So you know what, I'm not going to do it. Have you ever had that conversation with yourself because you thought of asking for forgiveness from someone? I know I did. I had this conversation so many times with myself, right? And there's one person in my life that until today I still cannot and could not, and I'm planning to do it very soon. I will do it very soon. This is my plan, to ask for that person's forgiveness, because in my mind I truly believe that I'm the one who's supposed to forgive that person, not the other way around. But I keep on receiving a message from the universe telling me, no, they're supposed to forgive you. You hurt them too. And in my mind, until today, it is still in my mind, going like, no, I don't think so. I don't think I'm the one who did the hurt. And until I become aware that I had something to do with hurting that person, I will not be able to go through the forgiveness process. So, this is how delicate this is, and this is how deep this is. You want to always remember that life is a two-way street. Nobody can live their life on their own. No one can live their life without people around them. And those who think they can, I can assure you that one day they will reach a place in their life and think, oh my God, I've missed everything. And I really did not live my life. So that part, the regret and the guilt, very important limitation that we want to let go of. The third one that we want to let go of is fear of failure. Being afraid to fail is such a big limitation, because basically what it does, the fact that we are always afraid to fail, will keep us stuck in our place, because we will always be worried about doing anything that might cause us to fail. So we will never go into any new ventures. We will never do something new in our life. And we will always be stuck in everything that we have done before that never worked. Right? Does it make sense to you? Then let me know in the comments. So, fear of failure is one of the most important limiting beliefs that we want to let go of. Now, sometimes these limiting beliefs take a lot of time to shift, but sometimes they can actually shift with very simple exercises. When you go to the fear of failure specifically, if you shift your perspective, the way you look at failure, basically, instead of looking at failure as your problem, and like the worst thing that could ever happen to you is to fail, and people will say that you failed, and you are worried about judgment, you are worried about what others will think, you are worried about how this failure is going to keep you where you are. What you want to do is shift the perspective from fear to learning. So, in other words, your failure becomes your school, it becomes your teacher, it becomes your opportunity to learn. When you change your perspective to failure, like your perspective of failure from failing to learning, you are already on the right track. Sometimes the fear of failure is way much deeper than we think, and we need some help to go through it, and some maybe support from other people to let us get out of that fear or that limitation. But I want you to try this. Try this today. Every time you feel like, oh my God, I'm going to fail, or if you have failed already, look at your failure and look at what are the things that you can get out of that failure as a learning. List them. Go through that, like do a proper exercise. This is not just you going through something in your life, like takes 1 second and then that's it. No, spend some time on major things that you've gone through in your life where you failed, and look at those problems, look at those failures, okay? And see what it is that you have learned from that failure. Take those learnings and make those learnings the base for you to move forward, and let go of that failure, let go of that fear of failure. And yes, fear of failure is a very true fear. And there's another fear that's also very true. I'm not going to be talking about it now, but someone mentioned it, so I want to make sure that we all know that it actually does exist, which is the fear of success. And the fear of success exists because there's a lot of responsibility with success. Success does not come without responsibility. So a lot of people develop that fear, and it's a limitation for you to move forward. If you are afraid of succeeding, that means you're going to keep yourself stuck. And most of the time, we're not stuck in the present, we're stuck in the past, because that's where the mistakes happened. And that's where the mistakes have been lingering in our mind. And like I said, you wake up in the morning, you go to bed with that issue, and yes, you wake up with the same issue. That's true, Jane. So basically, we want to remember that to move forward, we want to really first and foremost start to let go of the past. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of exercises so that you can really release those blockages. I use those exercises, they've helped me a lot. They've made me really go through a process myself to release some of the things that um have been burdens on my shoulders and have been like creating a lot of heaviness in my life. Some of these the exercises that I'm going to give you today are exercises that you can do yourself, but also there are other exercises and other ways of letting go that require support from other people. That, because like I said, for the limiting beliefs, sometimes they are so deep that the exercises I'm going to give you today might not be enough for us to go and find those limitations and really let go of them and move forward in our life. So one of the things that we can do is journaling. And when I say journaling, I mean we're going to be writing every single emotion, every single thought. We're going to identify those negative patterns, those negative reoccurring thoughts that we have in our life. So when we journal, when you journal, you're literally writing everything that comes to your mind. And then what you do, you go back and read whatever you have written. And you, like on daily basis, do this exercise. And when you are reading, you go through the journal and you go through what are the things that you keep repeating in your journaling process. Like, what are the emotions that keep on coming up? What are the negative thoughts that keep on coming up? And when you learn those, when you go and figure those out and find them, what you want to do is you want to reframe them. You want to challenge those negative thoughts, and you want to reframe them and put them in a more constructive frame. So if your thought is always about negativity, or it's always talking about you in a bad way, or someone else in a bad way, what you want to do is you want to reframe that thought. Like, for example, if every time you are writing something, you say, for example, I cannot finish this job, you know, I cannot finish this job, I will never be able to finish this job. And if you find yourself saying this daily, this is a problem. So you have a reoccurring negative pattern. What you want to do is to reframe this and challenge this. You want to ask yourself, why am I saying this? For example, I don't have the means. Okay, the way you can reframe this: today I am going to bring myself a solution for this problem. Let's say I don't have the time. Today, I'm spending half an hour doing nothing but focusing on this. Or I don't have the power. Today, I will give myself 5 minutes of power boost, of dancing, of jumping, of screaming, of crying, of whatever it is that gives you like that intense feeling in your body. And then put yourself to do that task. And you will see that in no time, the more you reframe your thoughts, the easier it will become for you to move on. So journaling for that is amazing. The second thing that you want to do, and I did this I did this for myself several times, is writing a letter to yourself. And writing that letter to yourself is about you acknowledging everything that you are going through and giving yourself the time and the how do you call it, the audacity to acknowledge the bad things that you have gone through, acknowledge your mistakes, and then forgive yourself by through writing. not just thinking about it, but really write to yourself about your personal struggles, about the things that you've been through, and say, forgive me because I did this to you. This is what I was trying to do, but unfortunately, this is what happened. And for that, I want you to forgive me. And you're talking to yourself, but at least you are being honest, you are being transparent, and you are being true to yourself. So do that. This exercise helps you really become more more in touch with who you truly are. It becomes very personal for you. And then it allows you to build resilience. It allows you to build a better relationship between you and you. So that letter to yourself, then what you want to do is once you write it and finish, and I can assure you, this exercise might be a very emotional one. What I want you to do is I want you to read it to yourself out loud. This exercise will really, really help you. And it will be like a very powerful testimonial to yourself on how far you have come, you know? Because for you to be here today, what you've been through, that experience led you to where you are today. It's kind of also giving yourself a pat on the back and being grateful to what you have done through your life to bring you to who you are today. So that letter to yourself is a very important exercise that you can do in order to let go of all the burdens that you have and forgive yourself, right? The third thing that might help you also in becoming more aware and then letting go properly is having an accountability partner in your life. And when we say an accountability partner in your life, I don't really mean like your partner, or it could be anyone in your life. It could be your friend, it could be your best friend, it could be a colleague, it could be your mentor, it could be me, you know, anyone in your life, someone that will always remind you. And I have someone here on the call. I feel like they could be my accountability person, and I know I am one way or another their accountability person, because I know that when they feel there is something missing, they come to me and they ask me, and I'm going like, yes, don't do this, do that, or yes, you forgot about this. That's what the accountability person is there for. That accountability partner is to remind you that you made a promise to yourself to become better, or you made a promise to yourself to solve something, or you made a promise to yourself to move from point A to point B, but you are lingering, you are forgetting, you are thinking, no, I can't do this, I don't have the will, I don't have the power, I don't have the know-how. That accountability partner is your friend, your mentor, the person in your life who's going to nudge you and say, hey, remember, yeah, remember you had that goal, and now you're completely like diving in a completely different direction. Come back. Come back and remember that this is where you wanted to be. That's what the job of the accountability partner is. And if you are um, on a journey to let go, and if you are on a journey to get out of your stagnation, to get out of your procrastination, because this is what I work for with, to stop repeating the mistakes over and over and over again. You want that accountability partner to be there to remind you that the direction, my friend, is forward. The direction is not backwards. So when they feel like you're lingering and you might step back, that accountability partner is going to nudge you, is going to tell you, hey, come back. And you want to have regular check-ins with that accountability partner. Like you talk to them maybe on daily basis, maybe every other day. And then this person is going to be there for you the same way you're going to be there for them. That's what the accountability partner does. I have so much to say about this topic. I can talk about this forever. And people who know me will know that I will never shut up about this. But unfortunately, our time is about to finish. Well, it's already finished, and I have to run. But I love you. I want you to remember that I'm here for you. And remember my invitation that I talked about at the beginning of the webinar. So here's my invitation for you. If whatever I spoke about today resonates with you, if you feel like, yes, oh my God, I wish I can do all of this, but it's very difficult, or I need someone to help me, or I need someone to guide me along the way. I know I hoped long time ago that I had that person. I had to look for that person. I did find many people, and got the help from so many people in my life. Sometimes you need the help from so many people, and sometimes one person can actually be the trigger for you, and they could, like, you could resonate with them and say, oh my God, yes, this is it. If you feel that way, if you feel like what I talked about today resonates with you, and if you feel like maybe Maysoon is the right person for me to guide me through this journey, just let me know. All you need to do is send me a message on what's on Facebook. Talk to me, let me know that you are there, that you want that support, and I will be more than happy to give you a hand. What we can do is very simple. We can get on a call, we can talk. I will learn about you. I will know who you are, where you are in your life, and maybe I will give you, not maybe, for sure, I will give you some tips that you can even start exercising as we are on the call, and then take them with you and start exercising in your life. And then, once I learn more about you, I understand where you are, what's happening with you. If I feel like I really can support you, and if I feel that our energies are like in sync, and they are, we're talking the same language kind of, I will show you what it looks like to work with me. So all you need to do is message me on Facebook Messenger, or comment on any of the Facebook posts that I have, or even send me an email if you are on the mailing list, and let me know that you want to talk. I will send you a link. You can book that call. We will talk, and we will take it from there. And like I said, I never get enough of those webinars. I can talk for ages. Those of you who attend my webinars regularly will know that. Those of you who are already working with me will know that. So without taking this too long, I really want to let you go. I have another call to attend as well, but I will see you again next week. And until then, if there's anything that you want me to tackle, or if there's any subject that you would like me to talk about, please do let me know. I am here for you, and I love you all so much. You are my pearls. I'll see you again next week. Ciao, ciao.